I like this filter, so I'm going to be using it in this video. I guess it's a filter. So I'm going to be doing this video on subjective and objective morality. I have a few problems with, excuse me, on subjective morality and problems within subjective morality. My first problem with subjective morality is that subjective morality kind of has a major flaw. That major flaw is that in subjective morality, everything is supposed to be based on personal opinion, personal experience, things like this. So everything in it is subjective, is built to the subject. Or not to the subject, but the person, and that's what creates it to be subjective. Well, if this is the case, then the one objective fact of subjective morality would have to be that subjective morality is in fact true. So that would have to be an objective fact. But if everything within morality is an opinion-based thing, is a my feeling-based thing, then exactly how does one explain why there has to be this one this one objective fact? Why is this one objective fact true and all others devoid of truth? Why aren't there other facts within morality? Why should we accept this one and no others? And that's not the only problem. It's a contradiction within subjective morality itself. You make a claim that all of morality is in fact subjective, and there's this one moral truth that you have hanging over your head that you can't get around. The other problem that I have with subjective morality is that subjective morality is people who use subjective morality turn around, and give their opinions and things which they would say are subjective reasons for believing a certain way. This doesn't make any sense to me. If, in fact, all of morality is subjective, nothing you can say to me should affect my opinion on a certain moral reasoning. I mean, maybe there are things... basically, you have to be admitting that there are, in fact, facts. And if there are facts, then that would mean that all of morality cannot be subjective, especially if facts can persuade you. The other problem I have with it is that there seems to be a fallacy purported that if A, then B, therefore C is fallacious logic, which it isn't. It works in other forms of logic. Why doesn't it work in morality? It does. It's just that the premise actually has to follow the two, I can't think of the word for them right now, but the preface, the two things leading up to it actually have to lead to that premise. So if it has to lead to this premise, then, and it does, and this allows other people to see my logic and go, I understand what you're trying to say there. I understand your logic. I understand where you're coming from. That would also mean that there has to be an amount of objectivity to morality. Now I have a few questions. The first question is, what makes morality subjective? What actually makes it subjective? I'm not asking, that opinions differ, therefore it's subjective. That doesn't follow. What I'm saying is that if objective morality is in fact false, that would mean subjective morality, or perhaps some form of excuse me, I should not say objective morality, because what we were talking about is not objective morality. Objective morality is something like utilitarianism, or Kant's philosophy, which I can't remember the name of. Those are objective philosophies. We are talking about moral realism. Moral realism. What if moral realism is false and subjectivity is true? I should have corrected myself at the beginning of this video, but people make mistakes. Even I say objective morality when I mean moral realism. So anyway, back to my point. So if you have this system of morality which is false, and subjective morality is the only thing which can possibly replace it, although there could be a third alternative that no one's thought of, what causes this, or what makes this real? What about this makes it any more real than objective morality? Opinions can't make it real. If my opinion is that it's wrong and your opinion is that it's right, that's a conflict. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually give a good reason. And if you can't give a good reason, this is also a contradiction, considering that it would be another fact that you would have to accept, making it more objective and less subjective, slowly pushing it towards objectivity. The last question I have is, how is this even important? How is it that should it matter if objective or subjective morality is in fact real or false? Because in reality, they're both equally as real, which is to say that neither of them are real. They're things which we have only come up with in our mind. Example, Nicotine 2 came up with the example of better, and Bionic Dance, whose video I'm going to attach this to, Bionic Dance said, "Oh well, better is a subjective word." That is in fact false. Better has two meanings. One is subjective, and the other is objective. A subjective version of better would be an example like this. I'm going to use the same thing as an example. You'll see what I mean. I say that my guitar is better than yours, and I point to a list of facts that would a list of things and facts that would show that my guitar is better than yours. However, you prefer your guitar to mine. You like yours more, and you point to a separate list of facts which it makes it in your mind a different kind of better. For example, so you like your guitar better, versus mine is better. An easier way to put this is to use an example of food. Food is, and I think what Nicotine was trying to get at is that why can't we create an objective philosophy based off of the real better and not the subjective better? So here's another example. Say I have 2 bowls of food. This is an easier example to comprehend. I have 2 bowls of food, and in one bowl is green beans and the other is pizza. And I pick up the pizza and I say, man, this pizza is way better than those green beans, way better. And I say it tastes way better, and it's better. And then somebody else comes along and eats a piece of the pizza and eats the green beans and says, I think I'll take the green beans. And I say, why? This pizza is better. They say, well, the green beans are in fact healthier for you, therefore they are better for you. That is the same example of the two kinds of better. Better is a subjective thing like taste, and then there's better, which is something that is actually better for you, that is known to actually be better. And in Nicotine's example, he uses a world in which everyone would be happy no matter what. So, like heaven, for example, as he used. And if this is an objective better, like no matter a sadomasochist would love this place, everybody's going to love this place, it would be objectively better. There's no denying that. It would be objectively better. You cannot argue past that point, because for the sake of the thought experiment, I suppose, it is objectively better. And in reality, it would be objectively better. You would be able to sit down and prove with facts that it is objectively better. The other place would be subjectively worse, or objectively worse, which you would be able to see is in fact objectively worse. So, if these things are in fact better or worse, and in reality are better or worse, I think that makes his question valid. I understand why it would be easy to miss the point in his video, because I had to watch it about 3 times before I really grasped what he was trying to get at. But I'm just saying that, and maybe I asked this already, but just in case I didn't, what does it matter whether or not objective or subjective morality, which one's real? Like I said, they both have the same amount of facts going for them, which is very little to none. It's all based off logic past that. And so does it really matter if they're real if one works better than the other? Which I'm not suggesting one does, because in my personal opinion, to give my personal opinion, I think there's an amount of morality which is in fact objective, and an amount of morality which is in fact subjective. And these two things come together to create one morality. It would explain why lots of people have the same opinions about things and things like this. So it does do a lot of explaining, but every morality's got its flaws.